Today I wanted to take a minute to discuss one of my favorite products over the years. And instead of a typical review, I want to give more of a practical example of how I use the Rode Wireless Go 2 when filming. Because come to find out, I don't exactly use these products exactly as Rode advertises. You see, I want to divide this up into three main sections: the wireless capability, or, well, lack thereof, the onboard recording, and lastly, the overall footprint of the transmitters. We could talk all day about the new features of 32-bit float and the incorporation of timecode, but in reality, those are all great things and all, but I honestly probably won't be using those features very much, and I'll explain why. And that brings us to our sponsor. Today's video is sponsored by Rode. No, I'm just kidding. I have 57 subscribers and ain't no way anybody is paying me to create these YouTube videos right now. However, after you click that button and subscribe, I might be just a little bit closer to my dream of being able to create these videos and collaborate with brands all the time. So do me a huge favor, just go ahead and click that button. I dare you. Anyways, let's jump right into the first topic, the wireless capability. Honestly, as a wedding videographer, using wireless audio of any form almost always is a bad idea. I don't fully understand why people are obsessed with the idea of always having wireless audio directly to the camera. And I think a lot of that has to do with the name, Wireless Go and Wireless Pro. But what if I told you that you don't ever have to use the wireless function of these recorders? A big reason that I try to avoid the wireless function at all costs when filming weddings or other live events is interference with other microphones, whether that's DJs or live bands. Because these are stuck at always 2.4 gigahertz, you either have to have the conversation of frequencies with every vendor just in case, or simply go without the wireless capability. For me, going without the wireless capability just makes sense, because 9 times out of 10, I'm running other sources of audio, multiple cameras, and having the wireless audio just go to one camera doesn't save me any time in post, because everything has to be linked up in post anyways. Instead, what I do quite often is actually keep the receiver in my pocket. I can quickly turn on the receiver to check the status of both the transmitters, their battery life, and if I'm doing a long take, to make sure that they're both still recording. I use the receiver as more of a turn it on to check the mics without physically going over to my talent and looking at each transmitter. So know that you don't always have to use the receiver to get great audio, especially when working live events or running multiple cameras and audio recorders where you'll have to sync and post anyways. And that takes us straight into our next topic, the onboard recording. Now, don't get me wrong, I love 32-bit float audio. I've been using it for years now on the Zoom F3, and I'm even using 32-bit float audio right now to record this that you're hearing. However, I wasn't overly excited about having 32-bit float on the Wireless Pro. Cool, but not exactly needed in my opinion. For some reason, I have never run into any issues of clipping on the Wireless Go 2s, ever. The onboard recording almost always records at a perfect level, and honestly, the only time I've ever heard of clipping is when somebody is using the wireless capability, and then there's a lot more room for clipping into the receiver or directly into their camera. There's just a lot of room for error when you run it that way. But when it comes to the onboard recording, I've never had any clipping issues ever. Something I learned a while back on a channel called Epic Light Media is just how well the Rode Wireless Go 2s do when you pair them with a professional lavalier mic. Side note, the Wireless Pros getting a locking connection is probably one of the main reasons why I upgraded overall. For the last 2 years, I've paired the Wireless Go 2s with the Deity W-Lav Micro. It's a super tiny quality lav mic that is incredibly easy to hide on a talent. Here's a screen grab where I literally had the lav mic underneath this button. By pairing the Wireless Go 2s with incredibly professional lav mics, the overall recording quality increases substantially. And not to mention, it looks phenomenal. Can we all please, for the love of God, stop slapping a Rode Wireless Go or a DJI mic to someone's chest and just using the built-in mic? It looks terrible, and it takes 2 seconds to plug in a proper lav mic and hide it. I am so tired of seeing these Rode mics just aimlessly clipped onto someone's collarbone. It's terrible. Please stop. Whew, okay, sorry about that. Someone had to say it. The last point that I use religiously with the Wireless Go 2 is the when it's on, it's recording function. I've honestly loved this throughout the years and will hopefully continue to use this with the Wireless Pros as well. It just keeps things so easy, and especially during weddings where you turn the mic on and you place it on the officiant or your groom, I just want to know that it's recording when I put it on them, and when I take it off, it's still on. That means it's recording. Always knowing that a mic is recording is so key. And with this function, your talent really never knows when the mic is recording or not, so they never try to turn it off themselves. Say, when the groom goes to the bathroom or something, it's like, hey, I turned the mic off. Thanks. And lastly, I want to talk about the size of this thing. One of the things that I love is just how small it is. When paired with a lav mic, it can easily fit into the pocket of a jacket or even the pants pocket easily, especially with weddings where most of the time officiants are wearing multiple microphones. Having a pack that is small enough not to be annoying is so key to the comfort, especially in a wedding where you have high nerves in a situation. The storage size is similar. I can easily fit this full set into my gear bag, and the new charging case that comes with the Wireless Pro setup is super tiny as well. I have one of the off-brand charging cases that I've used with the Wireless Go 2s for the better part of a year now, but the Wireless Pro's charging case is just that much smaller. So there you have it. Those are my practical uses of the Wireless Pro and the Wireless Go 2s. It might be surprising to know that I very rarely ever use the wireless capability, or that I absolutely despise anyone who clips the transmitter onto the outside of clothing instead of taking 2 extra seconds to properly put on a lav mic, or that the lav mics I use are almost as expensive as the recorders themselves. Shout out to Deity. Anyways, I hope this helps you find a workflow that works best for you. What Rode has been doing with products recently is absolutely incredible, and I am pumped to see where it goes from here. Keep in mind, you shouldn't always have to use products exactly how they're designed to be used. It's always best to find a workflow that works best for you. I'll see you next time.